Metal Rhino Gaming here. I am Kyle.
Hey, I'm John, and let's talk about Final Fantasy VII Remake.
So, what were your favorite parts of the game?
Well, first off, just reliving Final Fantasy VII in current-gen graphics was a dream come true.
I know we've waited a long time for this game.
I know the opening sequence of the game was just jaw-dropping. The detail they put into it was just amazing.
I know when you're flying overhead and you see the kids on their bike and playing in the street.
Even the train sequence that introduced you to Cloud and Barrett for the first time was just so realistic.
Speaking of Cloud and Barrett, I love that they kept basically the original design for all the characters. Seeing Cloud wielding a sword with one hand that is bigger than his body and Tifa still being a badass by killing monsters with her fists is still amazing. I also must give credit to the casting for the game. The voice actors did an amazing job.
I agree. I think they did an amazing job with voice actors. I had to look up the voice actor for Wedge. I was like, is that Badger from Breaking Bad?
I know, dude, I did the same exact thing. Like, once I heard his voice, I'm like, who the heck is that? I know that from somewhere.
I thought it was hilarious, but Badger's voice was perfect for Wedge.
I agree, it was perfect fit. He does have that voice for kind of like that, fat idiot type of character. I kind of thought the dialogue between all the characters actually was kind of perfect. I liked how Cloud was kind of a dick throughout most of the game. I mean, he was basically only cared about getting paid no matter what the situation was, and how Barrett was kind of the comic relief of the game.
Yeah, I know. Barrett sometimes would hum the fanfare melody after some battles. It kind of gave you homage to the original game.
Yeah, and I also like, too, how that scene where you're going up the tower and everything, you start using the grappling hooks. Tifa and Cloud are just being like badasses, as they're grappling up things, they're doing flips and doing that superhero landing. And Barrett's kind of acting like, he's an old fat guy. He kind of falls over and rolls around quite a bit. And also just the relationship between the characters too was just awesome. It was very organic. One of my favorite scenes was when they first enter the haunted graveyard and Tifa and Aerith are kind of scared, so they kind of grab Cloud's arm and push him in front of them.
Yeah, some of my favorite scenes had to do with the iconic Final Fantasy VII villain, Sephiroth. Whenever he'd show up, I don't want to spoil any of the scenes, but it was pretty much any time he appeared, I was just bringing back memories from playing the original.
And I like how in this one they kind of just brought him out right away. They didn't do that whole this shadowy figure type of thing, and you had to wait through, what was it, the first or second disc before you actually got his name from the original.
Yeah, he kind of brought him out a little bit earlier than normal.
So I was, though, a little disappointed, though, when this game was first being mentioned, and then we found out that it was going to be an action RPG and not the turn-based style that the original had and that most RPGs that we love had.
Yeah, same. I was pretty pissed when they decided to go for action RPG instead of turn-based. Turn-based RPG is still one of my favorite types, and I wish more games were like it.
I agree. It's just everybody's, crying nowadays. They want more action in the game. That turn-based is boring, but to me, I love the strategy with it. But honestly, after getting used to playing with the new system, it wasn't that bad. They did a lot better job than they did with 15. I replayed 15 a little bit just to kind of remember what it was like, and honestly, it felt horrible after playing 7. I still, though, would have preferred a turn-based.
True. The combat was 10 times better than previous games. I hate 15's. Remake's battle system still has some turn-based aspects. You do get to slow down time, go through the command menu, and choose the attack, magic, or limit break. You can use. You can even switch characters on the fly as well. Major improvements over 15's.
Yeah, the one thing, though, that I was kind of really disappointed in was the summon system. I did not like it, and I understand that it was something that was added to the game last minute because at this point in the original you didn't have a summon yet. But I mean, how can you have a Final Fantasy game without a summon? So I'm glad that they introduced it, but the way they did, I just really did not like it. And hell, I didn't even get all the summons in the game.
What, seriously?
Yeah, why would I waste time going back to get them when I beat the game with Infinite Shiva?
You missed out on the best summons, though. Anyway, I agree. The summon system was not the perfect. It had a lot of flaws. For instance, for Bahamut, you can only use them in certain areas, and even points of the game, you can only use them at certain points.
Yeah, as bad as the summons were, to me, the weapon system was just the biggest letdown. I didn't know how that first weapon, you could keep building it up, and then if you compared it to the last weapon you got in the game, I mean, there wasn't that big of a difference. I mean, I actually used, I think it was the second or third weapon that I got in the game. All the ones after that I really didn't even use. I preferred the second one, and that kind of ruined it to me. That last weapon you get should be your most powerful. It's something for you to, look forward to at the end of the game.
Yeah, it wasn't my favorite system. It was a cool concept, but I don't like that any weapon can be just as powerful as the first weapon.
So as far as a cool concept, I mean, I thought it was like, it kind of reminded me of that spear grid system from Final Fantasy X. So I thought that was kind of cool a little bit, for a minute or two, but then it just got annoying.
Yeah, I mean, like, you do get some unique skills in the final weapon that are useful for hard mode.
So speaking of hard mode, how was it?
Hard mode isn't a joke. It was pretty tough. You don't get to use items. You can't recover MP in conventional ways as in normal mode, as in like resting at an inn or a bench. You had to pretty much be cautious on how you use your MP.
So then why the hell would you even want to play it?
Because the bosses are tough and it's challenging.
So, yeah, right. You played it just so you could get your platinum trophy, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I had to.
Damn, dude, you're such a trophy whore.
What can I say? I like getting trophies.
Is that because you never got any as a kid?
Probably. Well, how many trophies you get?
Hey, I got plenty of participation trophies. Anyway, so how do you think of the overall replay value and the endgame content?
I mean, you get hard mode. You had some simulation, combat simulations. I guess you could say. Those are pretty much your end game content. You do get to get new summons, and you had mini games and crap like that.
So basically, you're saying there wasn't much.
I mean, you do have a secret boss fight at the very end of all the combat simulations.
I mean, to me, one of my favorite things to do in all the Final Fantasy games, or any of the old time RPG games, was to go back through and play it with different teams. Like the first time I believe I went through it, I had Cloud, Red 13, I think it was Tifa, and then the next time I went through, I added Sid and Tifa and Cloud, and almost every one of my teams always had Tifa and Cloud in it. Just the third character changed. So it was kind of annoying to me that you really couldn't go back and do that. I mean, I understand there was only 4 playable characters, and this is early on in the overall story mode, but it just kind of ruined it for me.
Yeah, I know, like, my favorite end-game content for the original was getting all the ultimate weapons and getting all our limit breaks and all that stuff.
And getting, what was it? Was it the black or the gold chocobo where you had to go into that one cave to get Knights of the Round?
It was a gold.
So, I mean, to me, it's just not the same.
Yeah, I agree. It wasn't the same. There really wasn't too much of end-game content. It was only hard mode, basically.
So, I know for a while we were saying some bad things about the game, but overall, though, this game, I just had an amazing time playing it. It brought me back to one of the best video games that I've ever played in my life. As far as time frame, I put 40 hours into it, and all I beat was normal.
I mean, I had a ton of fun playing it on normal and on hard mode. I spent close to like 90 hours playing it. It pretty much had everything a game could ask for.
So, to me, it is definitely worth the money. I was shocked that they were able to stretch that gameplay out that far with just that small amount from the original story. I believe it was only the first 3 to 5 hours in the original game?
Mm-hmm.
So for them to stretch it out that far, I was expecting only 15 to 20 hours of actual gameplay. So, I mean, it was just amazing to stretch it out that long without jeopardizing the integrity of the game.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth the money. They did a lot to expand the original story and did a ton of new twists to the original story. Can't wait to see how it all comes together.
So overall, I would give the game a B+, like an 8.5 on a scale, because to me, the graphics were great. I mean, especially compared to the original. You don't have Cloud with these little skinny elbows anymore, and these Popeye-sized forearms. And to me, they actually even made the story even better, because there was just so much more detail into it.
I give it the same score as you, an 8.5. It's not perfect. The graphics really weren't the best, but they're better than most out there. I would have preferred a turn-based system rather than an action RPG. So, and I would recommend it to anybody that wants to get into the Final Fantasy or just wants to just play a really great game.
Alright, so that is it for our review on Final Fantasy VII Remake. We would like to talk more about the game, but we don't want to give any spoilers out. So we'll probably make another video that is just full of spoilers and just us talking about what we think the next one's going to be based off of what happened at the very end of the game. And so we just want to thank you guys for listening to us two idiots. And if you wouldn't mind, please give us a like down below and comment also on what you thought about the game. Thank you.
Have a good one, guys.